All right. My connection's probably not going to be the best because I'm on my secondary connection. My primary connection's been crappy for the past couple days, and I've had it unplugged because I just can't have the instability because I work from home, so gotta have that right. Oh, let me do my hair. Ugh, there we go. Mm. Let me check for sound. All right, cool. We're good on that. Oh, ooh. All right, so I hope everything's been good with you guys. In general, I've been watching Wonder Egg Priority, which is a pretty good anime. Deals with young girls, 14, pretty much. 14. I just reached the end of season 1. I don't know if they'll do a season 2, but I reached the end of that, and it deals with young suicide, a young girl suicide. And unpacking like different feelings that people have, like cutting, not being love not being reciprocated. Like one girl that committed suicide, she was in love with an older teacher. So there was that, which was like, like I think it was a good storyline and dealing with, teenage rebellion, teenage feelings, emotions, and also the way it's handled in terms of how young girls express themselves. And I thought that was a pretty good anime altogether. You could also say it for young boys to a certain extent, which they did kind of touch on in terms of how they touched on how young boys exhibit, signs of wanting to commit suicide, how it's more goal oriented as opposed to it being emotional in some way, shape, or form. So I thought that was like, they touched on it, and I thought it was a well put together anime altogether. I personally liked it and definitely would recommend other people watch it. Let's get to our piece of art. Look at that. So this is a piece that I've seen before. I like this artist, Brian Sum, and he has like a lot of cool pieces. I always love his choice of colors. Like even this one, which is predominantly pink or red. I like how this one's put together in terms of like all the different color pieces, how things contrast with one another or even complement one another in a lot of ways. It amazes me the color that people or the how colors can meld together so well. I could never do this, like I've tried in terms of like putting certain colors together, and it's just like I cannot I'm not that good with this type of stuff, and I try too. Like I was at a reptile show last week. As I said, I went to a comic convention, and at the reptile show they had a coloring table, and I started to play with the kids, my homeboys' kids, and I was like, listen, I can color better than you. And then like, of course they join in because they're competitive and they think they can color better and stuff like that. And they're like, you're an adult. Why are you acting like a child? And it was just like, it was fun, but it was cool because like, I tried to put the colors together and my picture came out all right. It was cool, but it was like, it wasn't, it's like, I look at the colors that these guys put together or these guys use on a regular basis, the different shades. How do they do that? How do they, I used to be somewhat of a little artist drawer back in the day in like middle school, high school, kind of following my brother's footsteps with that because he was really good with art. But, just seeing these different colors and what people do with them is just simply amazing. It's just type of stuff that you would see Nike type work, like how Nike comes out with all these different shoes and colorways, and they just somehow, some way, they just always hit. I'm sure they have quite a few misses, but even some of the shoes, like my trail shoes that I have, I'm very surprised at how odd the color scheme is, but how well it's still put together. And I'm very impressed with that. All right, so dealing with art here. I want to add functionality to this delete button here. And so I got to first kind of think of how I'm going to do that. The best way I can think of is using the UUID, because that's going to be a unique identifier. Even if the names are the same, the unique identifier can be changed. So I always want to keep to using the unique identifier. Let's go ahead and blow this up here. All right, so I was adding error checks, but we're going to skip that for now and go on to the delete functionality. I will be using Postman. So I've got to put that and get that up and running. And I do have a delete endpoint, so I think this should be pretty easy. We'll see. I have to deal with the different checks and things like that to make sure that it all works. So in this case, remove account UUID and then just put in the UUID. So, okay, it's pretty simple, straightforward. What I want to do is we'll test and we'll see how a success will work. So in this case, my UUID, and what I do like is I want to point out the responsive design here and how it's actually working properly or working nicely. The account name is really long, and because of that, it is pushing these divs here, or these buttons, or the div that contains these buttons down. Whereas you can see here, when the account name is not that long, it keeps it on the same line. So I like how this is working and able to work properly with longer account names. So I think that's a really good thing. And that's kind of like really good template design, or design by the template makers, or I think it's like Grid CSS or something like that. Or I think it's part of Bootstrap. I forgot which one, if it's Grid CSS or Flexbox. But it uses, I use rows and columns for that. So yeah, I put it together, but I mean, I'm just implemented the CSS that's already there. So that's really cool. Let's see. I don't think I have anything here. Oh no, I do. So I already have it set up to where it takes the delete account item, takes a string, and then goes to the delete account item function should take a string on click, and then does what it needs to. Also, that hover is working well, so that's good. So that's the whole style cursor pointer there for the item. So we want to get, there we go. Ooh. Also, be sure to check out my gist. I've put in the, I've made some changes to ClickUp. I started that new like little mini series, Obfuscate.min, or mini category, or new series, whatever. Obfuscate.min, where I just take pieces of code and I take those, or I take a single problem and trying to make it into shorter videos. So not my 2-hour long live streams where you guys can ask questions or anything else like that. And I appreciate the the love you guys show. Sometimes when you leave comments, always when you give a like, and also a watch or a view. That's really appreciated, and that means a lot to me, because it's like, okay, the information is getting out there, and I hope it is useful to you all. Just please let me know if there's any way I can make improvements to actually help you out. One of the biggest improvements that I see, and this is not asked of me, but this is one of the big improvements that you see all the time with content creators, is they're always asked, okay, you have a long live stream. Like, it's big. It's like, it's like, okay, you got this big old long live stream, and how do you, like, how am I going to get the, can you consolidate that, crystallize it? This is a term I like to use, is crystallize. How can you crystallize that into, here? How can you crystallize that into a smaller chunk, like a 20-minute video, 10-minute video? And I'll get down to the 10-minute mark eventually. But the last video was about 20 minutes, cut it up, and I think I did okay, just at least to start, Sorry. All right, so we're going to put in the account UID, and we're gonna go ahead and send it. I think that's for this first item. So we should see that disappear. Ends with a 33 as opposed to a 43. Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. Send, see what happens. All right, so now with it being sent, I should get success, account removed. And so I should, so I can use the message out of this, put that into a toast message. Of course, do an if statement based on success. And then with the payload, I don't think I'll care about the payload. Yeah, I won't care about the payload. I'll only care about the payload on error. And then I could put that, I could throw an error to my default catch error handler. Definitely go back and check some of the live streaming videos about the catch error handler or the default catch error handler that I've put together for myself. And this is something I will be using for all my functions going forward. I'll have my default catch error handler, and then I'll also have my default function template, if you will. And I do have a blog post about that. Let me find it here. So this is treestarsystems.atlassian.net. And I will put, actually, I will put the link to that article for the default catch error handler. I'll put that in the chat right now, so you guys can go ahead and take a look at that. And that will be where I'll be blogging from now on. So I'll be putting things in there. I can't say that I'll be doing a lot of it. It'll be like little snippets of code and thoughts that I have. Nothing crazy in terms of the thoughts that I have, but like structured thoughts like functions and stuff like that. It's like, okay, this is how I would deal with this type of function. Or maybe even like something interesting that I found, like maybe a list of links or something like that, or my thoughts on an article that I found. I don't expect much traffic to go there, so I'm not going to lie. A lot of it's going to be for me, so that I can refer back to something and say, "Oh, okay, this is what I was looking at before." But you all get the benefit of it as well, because you get to see, like, okay, this is like this is a research or a repository for fairly interesting things, and if it grows, then great. It's there for that too, and it also shows off my involvement in continued education and things like that. And the reason why I say it like this is because I want you all to do the same in terms of, like, when you're going out looking for jobs and things like that. I had 2 interviews on the same day this past week, and that was pretty cool. And a good talk with my my current manager about just current manager about, like, doing what's necessary to get the eyes, get the looks, get the attention that you want from a prospective employer. And I also had conversations about, like, not being an employee, and talking with a friend of mine who has just recently gone on to go full time in his business, and super happy and proud of him and stuff like that. And I talked to him about dealing with burnout, and that's a thing that I've talked about in the past. All right, so this is our success. Let's go ahead and duplicate this tab, and then yeah, we should be able to do a send, and this should fail. Cool. So no matching account or accounts exist. This is only one. It returns an array. It does have a timestamp on it though, so I don't see that here for my success. So let's add timestamp there, because I kind of like to have that. I mean, I like to have these things be the same. That's kind of a big thing in terms of uniformity. You want to have that. Remove JS and account entry failure payload account removed. And shout out to, I had a stream about Vincent MGTOW and his possible passing. We haven't gotten confirmation yet, but he the way he sounded, and he was quote unquote ready to go. And shout out to our brother MTR, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, and his video where he came out and talked about what he's dealing with in terms of cancer. It's important that we get checked up. It's important that we keep ourselves healthy as best as possible. He is a person that is extremely health conscious, more so than myself. So, he's something, but that doesn't mean you can't get it. That doesn't mean you cannot, claim ignorance because you haven't prepared yourself for it. One thing that was very powerful about what he said, besides the fact of actually just doing the stream and talking about something that's so intimate, so private, as his form of cancer and what he's going through, because it's a mode of expression, but it also helps because the love and respect that we give him, and the things that we say to, hopefully help him through this. But him talking about, but it's like, it's important, the financial side, to prepare yourself. You can't just say, I didn't think this was going to happen. Listen, these things do happen, and you do have to prepare yourself. And this is some of the stuff that I think about, even for my own self, moving forward in life. Man, how am I going to deal with, if something happens to me financially? I was talking with brother Grinch God today too. Damn, it's supposed to be live coding, ain't it? I was talking to brother Grinch God today about this as well. And one of the things that, we talked about is like home base, and a video about that will be coming out Monday, where I just, I'm taking a walk and putting that information out, or my thoughts out on that. But talking about making sure that you're in a good place, that to where, okay, you're going to retire in, say you retire at the ripe old age of 60, right, which is your usual retirement age. Along with that, it's like, okay, what if you've put enough away in terms of your investments to where really you've already started retiring at 45, because you've reached 45 and you have 15 more years of mortgage payments. So that's $100 grand or so, but you have that already in terms of your savings and any investments and stuff like that. You already have that set. That's ready to go, So at 45 or so, you're ready to retire at 60, and by 60, house is paid off. You're not worried about that. You're on maybe fixed income or something like that. Your pension, or not your pension, not just your pension, but for pension, 401k, other Roth IRA, and anything else. But all that stuff is set. You're good. And that's kind of by 45, you want to have you're 15 years into your 30-year mortgage, and then you got 15 more years to end it, and you're ready to go. The money's already there. It's set. You're sitting on Easy Street watching the newest anime at that point, 60 years old watching anime, man. Like, yeah, it's going to happen with millennials for sure. But, but that's like the thought process of it all. Let's go ahead and send this delete again. This is a success. Let's go to this one. All right, cool. So that's the same, and it shouldn't have changed because that one, that was fine. It's the other one that's not fine. And I'll have to change the structure of this here because I have a try block but no catch. So that's one thing I have to go through and add. And I got so tired of refactoring this week. Oh my God, I was so drained from refactoring. You guys saw, the obfuscate.min where I was refactoring the ClickUp core functions and stuff like that. And it's like, Jesus, man. It sucks, going back over in it going back over your code, but you iterate, you know, like you go through your code, you come up with your initial design, and then you've worked with that code base long enough to say, hey, listen, I don't have to worry about this, or I have something's changed along the line, so you have to change your output, also even change your input. Maybe your input is, instead of a string or a single argument or a single variable, maybe that now you're actually inputting an object that has it's a multidimensional object. So it might have, you know, key value pair, but then that key value pair could be another object or a function or the result of a function or a loop and all types of other stuff. And you want to make sure that once that object is taken in and processed, or once that you want to make sure that function takes in that new object, takes in that new argument type or style, data structure, whatever. And you want to make sure that, you know, it meets the new requirements. Also, you've looked at it, and now you can start working on doing optimizations on your code to where you're doing things like implementing dry methodologies, or even going back and looking at your code and does it match the solid methodology that's talked about by or that was brought about by Uncle Bob. And I'll probably make a video about that pretty soon. I need to do a little bit more research about it and understand and getting better understanding of it. And it's crazy. Some of that stuff is an affirmation to what I already do, but also it's a wake-up call and a course correction for me too, because of the simple fact that there's some things I just don't do that aren't solid, that aren't you know, or that don't follow the solid principle. That also my first iterations are never following the dry principle, you know, or methodology. So, you know, things like I'll have multiple Axios calls. And then after a while, you can start looking at your Axios call, whether it be different API URLs or something like that. You could look at it and say, okay, I can make this call a lot shorter, or I can make this into a function that I can call, and it'll be a lot cleaner. So my actual execution of you know, or my execution or my procedure in terms of like checking the input and then checking the input and then going through and processing, making Axios calls, or sorry, API calls using the Axios library, and then taking that output and breaking it down. Where do I break it down? Do I break it down in the Axios call itself or the Axios function, or do I break it down, break down the result of the Axios call and then go from there? Is that following solid principles? Is that following dry principles? You know, am I keeping this KISS? Keep it simple, stupid, or silly? So really good videos about that. In fact, let me, there were some really good videos about that, and I want to share them. This one, copy link address. So I thought this video was good. Wait, I can't unsend it. So is it this one? Did I? This one's good. And then there's another one on solid. And this will be the basis of my research. My further research into this. Copy link address. Again, the first one was about dry, and you know, this one's about solid, the solid principle. And you know, you kind of it's to me it's like about compartmentalization of code and things like that. Oh. Okay. Let's get a better lighting in here. All right, so working on delete and how that's going to work. There's only a couple delete endpoints, so that's cool. I like that though, because this shouldn't be too. I don't think delete should be complicated. if anything, yeah, mostly UUID, as you can see here and here, and then name. All right, so that's cool. All right, so we got the lead. So let's work on our back end. Is I won't say it's good. I mean, it's good enough and it's there and it works. I don't think there's anything. Actually, I don't think there's much to do on our back end in terms of like making the output any better. We can make this a little bit functionally better in terms of creating a catch error handler of some sort that handles, you know, if there's an issue with it, sending that error to the front end so that we can take care of it. That'd be good. Right, but we will work on that another time when we get back into the back end. But you can see how my code has evolved, quote unquote, gotten better, changed to where now it's like, okay, this try catch block and or this try block needs to have a catch and possibly a finally block. Definitely have a finally block, whether I use it or not, but just to get in the habit of try, catch, finally, always having that. All right. So we're going to do view public JS, and this is going to be fat modify fat form modify account JS. And we're going to do delete on a delete account function that already has the ID. Oh, no, this is all right. So we don't have the delete account function. We don't have one at all. So let's go ahead. I say a delete account function should be fairly straightforward. Trying to find something I can copy off of, so we'll use these. That's the shortest block of code. So, all right, so delete. This great candle from Yankee Candle that I'm like just taking in right now. It's really good. Got that going right now, so adds to the ambiance. Environment is always important. It helps with mindset. Puts you in a better mind state, I believe. So account UUID, in this case, our method is going to be delete method, and we're going to do IPI remove account UUID, and we can get that from here in terms of the structure of the URL. So it should be / API, or it should be API in this case because of how it's doing it from the front end. So it's going to hit API remove account UUID and then the account UUID itself. In this, I mean, you could see just the like this right here. This is a asynchronous call. So this should be an asynchronous function here. I should have that allows me to have the result of the await keyword there. I want to probably put response. Let's increase this so y'all can see it a little bit better. I'm gonna make that a part of, or I'm gonna push that to the response variable. Maybe not. We'll see here. So and we have a response object, and that is going to be. We're gonna have some toast in this as well. We're gonna have a toast message as well that's gonna come up. See, and we can even try things out and like, okay, put the toast response, since we're going to use it multiple times, put that in its own function to where it's like, okay, we have a toast response that is the same for everything on the site if we wanted to. And we could put that in our main function. I might define that here. So response object. It is always going to be status message and our payload, whatever that may be. At first, it is always set to success. This keeps us from having to change it later. We only change it if we need to. Otherwise, it's a success. All right. And payload is just going to be a string. And we can go ahead and change that down here if we needed to. What I'll do is open up another prompt here, nano server view public API. And I'll see JS, and I will do Axia. Let me do Axia's call. No, I'm not definitely not doing Axia's call. I'm trying to remember where I'm going to do this. So I'll do this here, and I will do a function that says default toast. I'll say default toast something. And to be a regular function, it's going to take object and options. And what I'll do is I will copy what I do for toast here. Toast. So a default. Top end, to position top end, show confirmation button, false, timer 1 second, or 1,000 milliseconds, 1 second. Progress bar, yes. All right, cool, we're good with that. So one thing we do change, what we'll do, one thing we can change in terms of like options, we will do icon. Looking at my keyboard a lot tonight. Title. And we'll do this as a ternary operator. And with this, we do have to return some form of a string because of the way toast work, or for the way, like, this all works. But we can, like, make this whole function if we wanted to. But we will make this a ternary operator. And we'll do options. And we'll do options. Oh man, got a freaking bug. Oh, turn this light on. Handle that bug in a second. You're probably gonna hear a loud crack in like a couple minutes. Yeah, take your ass over there. Go ahead, get zapped. Options.title. Boom, there it is. hey man, these lights, bro, when you're out in the country, like I tell my mom all the time, I tell anybody that comes in this house, man, close the door as soon as you get in. As soon as you go to that door, close it. Like, even if that means your finger's going to get caught, because the amount of bugs that are out here, especially since I have water here and it's the country, like, oh my God, it's ridiculous the amount of bugs that's like out here, man. It's crazy. And I hate mosquitoes. My skin's like, it hurts. Like, you know, I have to itch a lot and stuff. I hate that. So having a bug light, I have these scattered throughout the house right now. I have like 2 of them. I have 2 of them, but there's a 3rd here as well. And I got to like set that sucker up. But we're going into like winter or fall, so they're going to start dying out pretty soon. So what we're going to do is based off of options. So options.title and default notification and then icon, same thing. This will be a string, but this will also be a ternary operator. And as you, or let's go over ternary operators. So ternary operators are encased in a parentheses. And I don't need that second parentheses here. Like I can go without having this parentheses. You only use this parenthesis, like you only use the parentheses within the parentheses around your conditional. So it's made up of 3 things. This is how you start it. You have your conditional. And then you have a question mark, right? And then you have the true value, or what needs to be returned if true and what needs to be returned if false. Another way, of course, of writing it is wrapping your conditional to have more complex conditionals or even nested ternary operator conditionals. And it's still your true and your false. So how this would be written would be, and it wouldn't even be like an if. You wouldn't even say if. You'd be like, you know, var equals 0. And if that's true, output 0. If it's false, output string not 0. Or whatever var is. You know, you got to put the variable or 1. You know, and that's kind of like how you would handle it. That's how you use the ternary operators. So quick little lesson on that. And it's good for stuff like this because, you know, you don't want to go too crazy with this. Like, I just need to say, like, if this, then do this. You know, like, I don't need it to be anything crazy. So if.icon, if it exists, if it's there, then I want you to have options.icon. Otherwise, I'll have, I think it's info is the default one. Sweet alerts. Icons, and we have info. Yeah, info. That's fine. We can have info, and this will, the icon and title take a string. So, and then also, title. Yeah, it should just be title. Yeah, it should be just title. It should be like a message section or HTML section on a toast message. It would look weird, but it'd be like too much, if anything. So default toast. No, ooh, got another one. So, and I think that stuff is like right next to me. You guys can like see the light, like that sucker's like right next to me. Oh God. 111. So once that's in place, then we're gonna do swall or sweet alert dot. I think it's toast, and then no, I think it's sweet alert fire, and then we pass it the our config options or our options. JSON object. So if I look at these, so yeah, swall, fire, toast options. All right, perfect. So, and then it'll just fire the options for us. Yeah, I mean, I could do some error checking going into this. I can also follow our standard. So catch. Again, you know, getting in the habit of doing this. And then finally, I don't think this hurts. So until I find out it does, I'll keep putting it in. And then I'll put in default catch error handler. Oh, turn this back on. See if we get some customers in the light your ass up hotel. Oh, may not have to. Get caught up in the Helping Hands hotel. All right, so default toast options. Try catch. That's good. That's in place. We have to put our standard return object in there. So I don't need it to return anything. It only needs to return on the catch. So yeah, that's fine. And I don't need it to return anything here for the try block because I don't want anything. Like, I don't expect anything from this. I need it to show a notification. If it doesn't show a notification, then it needs to console that out. Why it didn't show a notification. And, you know, I could throw any type of errors or anything like that if I needed to in there as well. So I'm not doing that, but I don't see a reason to do that now. Ugh. Okay, try. Boom, got one. I know that's annoying, and for some people that's probably disgusting, but that's what I got to deal with. Otherwise, these things are going to be flying on my monitor. You won't see it, but I'll be like reaching for my monitor every 2 seconds trying to crush them or something like that. It's just easier to turn this light on and let it handle it. All right, so function default. Let's go back into that's in our main.js, and let's go ahead and let's call it to see what happens. I want to see. I'm gonna pass it. Oh, title shouldn't be options.title. It should be object.title. Object.message, actually. And object.message. No message set. All right. So icon services. And then info. It'll always be info. That's fine. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass it two things, and I could pass it like this. It'll be cleaner, of course, putting it into a variable and then going from there. But I'm not gonna do that for now. And we can make it dry, of course. Oh, let's make sure we put in our try catch block. Catch. Finally. there. Again, default error handler as always. That's just my design pattern, period. For personal projects, as you need to change it for something like, an employer or something like that, they're going to have their own design patterns and how they expect functions to be written. Maybe they want to use the Twitter standard. Maybe they want to use Google standard, which is well known, things like that, or like a mix of whatever they have, Cool, that's 100%. So charge this. All right, cool. So I'm just thinking while I'm doing this. Default notification. I'm gonna get. I think this Axio's call, but like, let's just do this. Excuse me. Oh, and another reason why it's good to always have your semicolons or follow the syntax that's usually given by the language or the platform is for things like minification. So if I minify this JS and I don't have those semicolons, in some cases that could cause issues. It's just something that I've seen before when you do like minification, that will cause an issue with the parser. All right, so default toast notification, and I'm just gonna say title is going to be okay, and then actually no, also want to get into a habit of using template literals, and then I'm gonna pass it account UUID. And I just want to test something new that I've just added, right? Which is the default toast notification. And then in options, I'm going to have my icon equal success. And again, this will be based off of, what's returned or what the response is. So once I do my delete notification or delete account item, it's an asynchronous function call. I'm not returning anything, so I don't have to handle, the response or anything like that. It can come whenever it needs to, whenever it finishes the delete, or whenever it gets a response. I don't need to account for that. I don't have to resolve a promise later on. It can come whenever it wants and execute whatever it needs to. So in this case, it'll execute the default toast notification. Oh, got another one. All right, so control F5. There's no errors here. No test message. No test message. All right, cool. So that's good. I can do. What's another one? Question. I can do question. And just gotta update the code base here or what's there. So I can do this. No message set. You can hover over that. That's pretty cool. I didn't know I had that enabled. Or forgot that I had it enabled. Cool. So now we have our default toast notifications, and we can pass it different information as well, and that'll determine how we're going to do it wherever we want to. So if I wanted to, I can actually change a lot of these different things. So one thing I do want to change is timer. So depending on the toast notification, I'll have it use the whatever I pass in as an option for the timer. So on default, it'll be 1,000. Otherwise, it's going to be timer. And, you know, again, it's just like if I didn't put this in there, I couldn't use it. It's like it just wouldn't show anything. Also, I could do that for all of these, and, you know, set my defaults. But toast will always be true since it's a default toast notification. And then show confirmation button, I'll always have that as false. This is not that's not something I can see myself wanting to change. Again, I can always go back in terms of this code and say, well, new requirements require, or new things have come up, and it requires me to want to it requires me to have the ability to change that if I need to. So that's one thing. Okay. Show confirmation button, timer progress bar. Same thing. Timer progress bar. I'm going to set that to usually true. But again, I can pass another object, or I can pass the object, or pass this option in the object. Those would be my defaults, but I do have the option to change. So let's see how this looks. Oh, that's an unexpected token. Let's see if we can do this ourselves, and it should be right here. Let's see if that was right. 125. Yep, that was right. Oh yeah, two of them. Cool, we're good to go on that. And you know, with syntax errors like that, like your try catch, again, this is something I learned. Your try catch will handle runtime errors, but it will not handle syntax errors. So if your syntax is off, you're gonna have to fix it. It's just not gonna run. And it won't even get to your try catch. Like all it's doing, what happens is the parser or the V8 engine or SpiderMonkey engine, whatever your JavaScript engine is, it is going to go through it and it's going to go through your code and look for any syntax errors. And if there are syntax errors, it's going to let you know. And your linter, if anything, will let you know as well. For if your linter is like set to look at syntax errors, which they usually are, as well as other errors that you may have, such as like errors that you define, like in spacing and stuff like that. Oh no, I didn't do that. So that's good. You know, and I can set that to an alert message if I wanted to, but I like this better. I like to have messages like this. I think these look better in terms of just UI, and it gives the user some information as well. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and let's work with our Axios call. Now, before we even do all that, let's edit it, or let's comment that out. But what we do want to do is our delete item, or delete account item. I don't think I'll be returning a response to anything even here. Yeah, so that console is for me. I don't think I'll be returning anything here. So let's just work with our response. Remove account UUID, and then let's console.log our response. Also, one thing we want to do is delete response. I want that to be, I want it to look like that. Oof. Hold on, let me just send this before I forget. Hey, bro, let me know if you're still doing that thing with the fire sticks. I have a friend that wants to get one or two of them. I'm not sure. Because I forgot that the last time somebody wants a fire stick. All right, so if I do this here, okay, that's edit account. Failure 400. Error payload request, API remove account UUID, status delete account item, request failed. Now, you see how it responds with a 400? I have a feeling yeah, that's me that's doing that. You see how it's responding with that 400? Oh no, yeah, it's responding with a 400 if it doesn't exist. I needed to respond with a 200 in this case. Because I'm not doing it based off of status. But what happens is I get error messages like this from Axios, and that's not right. Like, it just doesn't have the record. It doesn't mean that the endpoint is not found or anything. It just means the record is not there. And I never thought about this last time because I had an issue with it. But this is something where it's like, okay, I need to change that. One thing I do want to do though is like let's test our front end here, so or our front end notification. So if data.status or response.data.status equals success, do something, right? Or do this. So in this case, I don't need it to do this. And we'll do an else. No, I want to handle it specifically because there's other things I can do. And what I'll do here is take this here. I feel like I'm watching like Street Fighter 5 gameplay right now. I don't know why. So title, let's see here. Error and then my payload. Okay, so I can just do my payload till here. I will do my response.data.payload, and I change that from time to time. And then in this case, it will be error. And that'll disappear. I won't have that disappear immediately or fast. I can have it disappear a little bit slower because of the work that we put in. So timer is what we want to handle. So, or is the item we want to pass. And we're going to do 2000. So we want to do it for 2 seconds instead of 1. If it's success, you don't really care about it. Just like get rid of it. It's okay. But if it's an error, you want to have time to read that error and possibly process it mentally, So, failure. And I can also throw an error as well. So I throw something here just to handle, just so it goes through the usual error process. So whatever the payload is, Or in this case, should I do payload or message? Message would be good. Yeah, if I do message, that's a lot though to put in. Like, that's a lot to put in a toast message. We'll see how that looks. That's a lot to put in a toast message. And then payload, throw. I want to throw message instead of payload. Oh, that's fine. Actually, I don't even need to. Yeah, I don't even need to throw anything because it handles it anyway. Obviously, it's right there. So yeah, it should be good. No, but it's gonna be a 200, so that shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, or that should be a problem, but or it shouldn't show up as an error per se. So we'll just let it do that. Just thinking here. Take the response out here. All right, cool. So we should still get our 400 because of what's in the back end, but oh, you notice how this works, right? Or we see that this is gone. Maybe I just used it early or something. So let's get rid of this one, all the one, or yeah, we can get rid of this one. Weird. So why isn't that working or firing off for us? Well, if it's success, do you have anything if it's success? So that one's 400, but it should return something here. It should give us this here. Oh, but it won't. It'll return 400, throw an error, go to our default error handler here. All right, cool. So I have to save this. And that's just doing the backend changes to the error codes. All right, app has been reloaded. Reload. So it actually did the delete. One thing we're not doing is refreshing the page. We do want to refresh the page or refresh the div on when it gets new items. So if successful, go ahead and refresh that div, but we'll see here. Let's see. So no message sent. Failure, delete that. Okay. No message set. I did set a message. Title. Response.data.message. Let's see if there's anything on the back end. No. I should get something here. Why is that not working? Let's see what code it actually has or what it has for the code here for delete. For the delete. Let's make this a little bit more crammed here. For the delete, default notification, our title is set. Response.data.message. Okay, let's see what we're getting. Let's see console. Oh no, caps is a no. console.log, and then we're going to do response.data.status, response.data. No, we want to do response.data. Title. I mean, it's kind of a lot to put in there, but it should still show us. Did I spell failure wrong? That happens. Happens quite often for me. I didn't spell any variables wrong. It would have told me. Icon error. Timer 2000. Okay. Timer's good. I don't see any issue yet why this is not showing up. So let's do another refresh. Okay, so that's giving me something different. It is giving me a success. Account removed. Okay, so I should do a default notification if error of this right here. So message, and I should see success here. Success, and the timer, I'm going to set it back to, or I'm going to let it be default. And then I'm going to create generate account prompt, add account prompt. Trying to find out what the thing I used to load did. I forgot. So that object fields, mission. Do I have to make a function? Does Wayne Brady have to make a function in this bitch? There we go. Refresh account list. Yeah. All right, cool. Did not want to have to do that one. So, do I have to do that? If I do refresh account list, it'll do like a sleep. So the problem is it's going to get rid of the fires or the swall fire or the sweet alert firing. Like when you fire one sweet alert and then you fire another, it's going to like override it in a sense. Like you just won't see it really quick. So it'll say, hey, listen, account removed, and then go to the next thing immediately. So I'd have to add like some type of sleep, and that's all user stuff or front end UI stuff. So yeah, this will look. So I'm going to get rid of this account. No message set, right? But then you see how, yeah, I should have more accounts in this. All right. Oh, did I get rid of all my accounts or something? Holy crap. Guess I got rid of all my accounts. Oh, Oh. No, I couldn't. Oh, there's something going on here. I think I deleted a whole bunch of accounts by accident. So let's get account all. Send. Yeah, I only got one. I thought I had more than that, but anyways, let's add. And everything else could be defaulted. Failed status 400. Okay. I was working on that. Please fill in all things. All right, cool. I guess I can't have all Ys. Weird. All right, let's add another account. All right, cool. Let's delete this account. No message set. So title data.message. Account remove. Did I spell message improperly? So it's just like, okay, I'm setting the title, I'm passing the title. So maybe, oh, there we go. That's why. No message is set because I'm passing title and it should be message. There we go. Okay, cool. That's, glad I figured that out. Honestly, it's just like, why? No, I'll keep it message here. And I was thinking, like, why would I pass message here? Why don't I just pass it here in options? But I wanted to take into account the message and then just deal with everything else. I don't have to do that. I can simplify it. And this is the thing we look at. It's like, okay, I can make this simpler. Let's go for simpler. I mean, why pass it so many different objects and everything else like that? Let's just pass it options. And options has message. Or, yeah, options.message. So, we'll do this. Options. Options. All right. So again, I mean, you look at your code and you're like, okay, why do I have to make this hard? I mean, in terms of like the objects that I pass. Again, yeah, I could pass, like I mentioned, a multi-dimensional object. I can do some other stuff in there too. I can't just pass options and that's it. I can change the name if that's a problem. Instead of saying options, it could just be object and then just taking piece of that. But I'm not using every bit of it. And then any bit that's not being used or that doesn't pertain to this, it doesn't really matter in terms of like looking at its function. So just do one object. It's like, why make that hard? Because I would run into the issue that I just ran into a moment ago where I'm just like passing message instead of like title, So in this case, what I'll do is I'll pass, it'll be title, and I'll take out this. So now it's all one object. And this. There we go. So now it's all one object, and it's title. All right. So, all right. So I moved that down here. All right. Good. I was just checking where if I have any other instance of that and I have to change it. But yeah, now we're good with title. It being there like that. And it didn't do what I thought it would do in terms of getting rid of the fired message. I don't know if it's like two messages laid over one another, but it did not get rid of it. So not sure why. That's not what I was expecting. And that's probably why, because I wasn't expecting it. So we'll keep that here for now. Let's go ahead and reload this. Again, it's doing everything based off of the data.status. Data.status. Axios returns a large object that has config and all types of other stuff that tells you about the call that you made. And then it also, but the data that you need, or the portion that you need, is in the data portion of that that object. So I always just do response.data.stat, or I usually do response.data.status, or I'll do let response equals response.data.status. So I like change how that object or what I'm referencing in that object, so it gets directly to data. And that's just dealing with Axios. Okay, so from here, boom. All right, cool. I don't think I need to save that again, right? That's good. So let's because I lost a little bit, lost my little track of my lost track of what I was thinking about. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. No message sent. So it should still have that message. So response.data.message, title, options.message. Just want to know what's firing. Where is that firing at? So I have title and icon. So that's good. That's good. 400. So account all 400. Oh, okay. So this is where I have to change my my get, and instead of returning 400, I need to be returning 200s. Oh, sorry. So I'm gonna change all of these 400. Oof, no, let's do a little bit more exact match here. Change that with 200. So yeah, all of them, 8 occurrences. That should restart my backend. And we're doing that because of what it does here, like failed with status 400. And it's like, okay, status 400 gives me a failure that throws an error for Axios, or Axios will throw an error based off of that. It's learning about the libraries that you're using and making sure that it'll work properly. So we're turning yeah, dealing with what your libraries that you use return, and understanding, you know, their behavior patterns and stuff like that. So in this case, error, no matching accounts exist. Perfect. And that's fine, because like I still want this to show something, like no matching accounts exist. So if anything, what I want to do in the all /all, no matching accounts exist. Just list all. Okay, get account response. Here we go. Get account result, callback status, send 400 payload. Accounts exist, no matching accounts exist. Yeah, I made that generic. Let's see here. Let's take this out. No account exists. And change that. Okay, let's refresh. Yeah, there we go. So no accounts exist. Yeah, that's fine. And I mean, I'd like that to be better, right? Like that function there. So close that. So I have no accounts. I could change that to where I just don't have anything. No account. All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and add an account. All right, let's add some more accounts. No, say it. Okay, and asset. Ooh. Let's check that toast method. I didn't see it. Has been successfully created. All right, so let's go ahead and delete it. No message set. I don't like that. Why is that still happening? All right, cool. So let's see why that comes up. So title, response.data message. I'm getting the object here. I'm passing the title as, all right, cool. Let me go back to fat here, or the main JS that's shared between all pages. And if I have options.message, so if options.message, then put in options.message. I should, by this right here, have an options.message. And that should be for my title. Did I spell title wrong? Let's do this. Let's look at console.log options, see what you see for message. Right, and see if you're getting what I'm putting down. All right, so I will go ahead and take this out here, undefined. So I'm sending it something, but it doesn't take it. Options.message. Because I'm not doing options.message. All right, cool. Options.message indeed does not exist. Options.title does, though. So let's set that. Cool. Pretty simple. Sometimes you just gotta look at it, work through it, and it's like, okay, it's not defined, and then it's like it's right there. You know, if it was a snake, it would have bit you right in your face. And you just go through it, and it's like, boom. All right, no accounts exist. That's sweet alerts. Again, I did a fire of a message, and then I refreshed, and then it got rid of the other message. So that's working as expected, except for this. Like, why is that still there? Okay, so no accounts exist. So even if no accounts exist, I still should output something in that area because no accounts exist. Okay, get rid of that. Just clean up our last thing that we dealt with. No accounts exist. And my refresh account list is what I need to be looking at. Refresh accounts list. It should throw that error, and then see if we could just generate with the payload here. The payload in this case will be an error. Ooh, that payload should be an array. So let's just pass in an empty array. And the only reason I'm doing this is using a predefined method or the predefined function. And I want to see, one, how it works, and two, just keeping that standard, so I don't like redo certain things and maybe even account for that in this case. So on failure, I wanted to do this. So notice something. I have my failure before my success, which I kind of want to keep going on with. So we'll I'll look at that here in a second. And also notice that like I have no try catch block in here, or I have no try. I do have a dot catch though, so that's fine. So it then kind of acts as our try. But this is somewhat acceptable, but it's not acceptable per our standard. So therefore, is it really acceptable? Got to think about that. Like I'm okay with it now, but then I'll probably look back at this and my OCD will be like, why didn't I change this? You know, like it'll be something like that. Because, but it's okay again because I am still using my default catch error handler, but I'm also using my pop-up error handler as well, just so I can catch this error, which is why it's like part of me is saying, oh, it's okay, it's all right the way it is. Damn, 520 lines just for this page, huh? No accounts exist. All right, cool. So let me add an account. Down the information, submit. All right, and then I want to delete it, and then it should get rid of this as well. Oh, look at that. It says invalid array, so it threw an error there. But even if it's an invalid array, I still wanted to wipe out that specific div. Do I want it to? All right, I'll probably just have to deal with this in case of this here. So this I'll make. I'll just do modify body. In this case, I will clear it. So if it's no, how do I know that? So I have a failure where I didn't get my accounts, right? Mm. I have a failure where I didn't get any accounts. Okay, didn't get any accounts. Now with that, oh, did that do the right one? No. Go back down here. So I have a failure here where I have to refresh my account list and my account list shows nothing. And then this will show nothing here. But this account has been deleted. So I know it's not there. So if I do this, no matching accounts exist. So that's just a problem. Um, I mean, if I return that error, no matching accounts exist, like no matching accounts exist, should I refresh the page? I can do a window.refresh based off of that. That'd be something to do. If I have a payload that says failure, no matching accounts exist, or no accounts exist here, then I can go from there. But the problem with that is that you start to do things based off of these like custom payloads. What if you change that payload? Then you have to go back and like change this in the front. It's like that's annoying. So that's stuff you gotta think about. I mean, is it okay just to say, refresh page? Yeah. So we can make something for that. We can do something on refresh accounts list. We could do something in there, and that way it gets handled there. So yeah, let's focus on refresh accounts list because I want this to be handled in terms of just user how the user interacts with the system. So if success failure, let's just put a couple errors in here or conditions in here. If response data payload equals a string, and then I just want you to I forgot what it is to refresh a window. So JS, I think it's like window dot reload or something like that. So JS dot refresh window. Refresh. So window dot location reload. Cool. And then just do that, because that way, well, first let's throw our error, because we'll never get to it, right? And then shit, you have to really throw the error, because if it's going to refresh the window, so will your console get reloaded as well. Depending on, yeah, no, we'll throw the error nonetheless, because we're going to throw the error, because just in case you have the setting, because there's a setting here like where you don't refresh. So clear console, show console sidebar, create live JavaScript top, default levels issues, preserve log. There we go. So if I have preserve log, then it will keep this log even if I refresh the page. So I can go ahead and refresh this page. It'll keep showing everything for me. And then also it'll get the effect that I want. So first we throw the error message, and then that'll reach our catch block, do whatever it needs to, and then go from there. And we won't generate an account items list or anything like that. And we can do some other stuff here too. We can do the same thing based off of no matching accounts exist or anything like that. We probably won't do it on no matching accounts exist. Like that's just, I don't think that's totally necessary, because, well, we'll see. We'll see about that one. I'll just keep that line just in case I need it. But if no matching accounts exist, should I refresh the page? We'll see. We'll see. So no account exists. Excuse me. And that could also cause like a refresh loop too. Yeah, depending on like if I'm calling this refresh list and no accounts exist, I can actually be refreshing this list over and over and over and over again. So, ooh, that's not good. Just thinking ahead though. See how that happened really quick. I don't know if that refreshed it twice. I just did the waiting modal there. So no accounts exist. Window.location reload. It's like, why didn't this work? Or why didn't this do what I expected to? Because is that a success? No, it's a failure. Let's do this. Window.reload. So we're gonna do console.log. And just reprint. We're just gonna console the string refresh. I just want to see how many times it's doing it. And that's another thing about preserving logs. Now we can see like if it did it multiple times. So close. It looks like it's not even getting to it. So console error object here. Oh, so it's throwing that response, and it's not even getting to the reload. So that's let's make sure. Oh no, it's not even getting. So it's fat 30. It's fat 86. But let's see the stack, how it's how it's traversing the stack here and what's calling what. So account 38. Okay, put that up there. Fat 86 calls this. So that's error. Let's take up a little bit more screen there. So default error handler, but it's doing this here. Yeah, and it's doing this before. So list data from API endpoint. If failure, throw data message. So if there's a failure, throw that one. So this is just on the page load. Okay. Oh, okay. So this is on page load, and it's not like it's running the refresh accounts list. So now if I do call this, like at page load, refresh accounts list, that would be a problem and it would cause a refresh loop. Or cause a possible refresh loop. Okay, so let's do this. Add account to submit. All right, cool. Account successfully created. I'm gonna delete this. No accounts exist. So when I delete account, just going through the whole process here, it's going to give me my success accounts removed, right? But I'm not seeing my success. I'm not going to see my my error message for too long, or I'm not going to see this message for too long here. My success message, that is, because I have it show, but then it goes to refresh accounts list. So let's put a sleep in there. Forgive me for I have forgotten. Set timeout. For the set timeout function, it takes another function. It's arrow, and then takes this, and then you have to put in that. I think that's how we're gonna do it. Set timeout. Yeah. See if I got that right. Forget functions like that. If I don't use it, man, I lose it. So that's definitely why you want to do these practice sessions. And sorry for the poor quality, guys. It's just I have to connect my primary internet connection. I said it at the beginning of the stream. So for those that are watching the graininess and everything else like that, thanks for rocking with me. I'm trying to explain it while I'm doing it. So hopefully on the playback it looks a lot better, or better than usual, or good enough, I should say. And I do have it blown up here. So if you're watching on a smaller phone, it should be okay. But if you're watching on a bigger device or anything like that, it probably looks like absolute dog shit. So sorry. So delete account. I have no accounts. So let's refresh the page. No accounts exist. All right. And if no accounts exist, maybe what I want to do is, like, if I want to do a no accounts exist, I'll probably do a toast message instead. Like, yo, no accounts exist. Show it, show this. Yeah, I'll probably do something like that. Yeah, I'll probably do something like that. That seems a lot better. I just got to work that into how I'm doing everything now. So account removed, successful. So I should have refreshed it. So my set timeout should have worked. Success. Default toast notification. It shows that. Set timeout. Okay. I gotta. And then it did refresh. It console logged refresh. And so refresh accounts. If no accounts exist, window.location.reload. So my payload said accounts removed. And then I should have done refresh list. Did refresh. The only thing I can think of is my payload doesn't have anything in there for it. Also, no, I do want to throw this here. Yeah, no, I'm starting to get lost in the sauce on this one. All right, so refresh. right, cool. No accounts exist. That's fine because that's handled by as the page loads. Excuse me. Let's do this. Hey, account has been successfully created. I can edit this account, get that information, and I can delete this account. No accounts exist. It throws that error. I don't like the fact that it's not throwing. I mean, I can have it like, I can have it send to the error handler immediately. So I can have it push like my default catch error handler just because it's not caught or in a catch error or anything like that, just so I can log the error on the screen. Because when I throw, I think what it's doing when I throw, and again, this is just me understanding JavaScript a little bit better, but when I throw, that's like a return. That's pretty much a return statement. So it skips everything else and doesn't execute anything else. But I want it to log that error, but not skip all the other steps after the fact. So I can still do my default error handler, even a pop-up error handler if I wanted to, because those are just functions that I call when a catch block is reached or executed. Yeah, and I just still pass in the same message, so it's not like it's a big deal. Yeah, and the way I handle my messages or my strings, I can take an object or I can take a string. Cool. Thinking ahead and didn't even know it. So like, well, let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna throw it back. Okay. Boom. Account removed. Refresh, but it's not refreshing. Okay, so account removed. That's good, but it's not refreshing. So if see, I'm looking at payload here, and it should be message. Again, not looking at the right key in the object. I guess that should be like the real name of this stream. Not looking in the right place. Finding messages in all the wrong places. I do that. Finding messages in all the wrong places. All right, cool. Boom. Account removed. And then refresh. The only thing I don't like is I don't know what this is. This is weird. So no accounts exist. So that's fine. That's good. That's good. So we learned something about behavior. Learned something about we learned something about behavior. Also, using our default catch error handler. It's just a what's it called? Not a script, but it's just a function nonetheless. So it's going to console log here. And we've made it to where it gives us our message that we need. And also throwing an error is like returning or a throw will do a return. So all your other code will be negated in a sense. So we work around that, but we kind of get the best of both worlds, right? Like we get what we want out of it. Another thing is no accounts exist. And yeah, so no accounts exist. And we did that just, okay, yeah. So we did that because we wanted to ensure that our list shows nothing here. So if I put something in, actually, let's refresh this page. No accounts exist. I shouldn't get anything that returns an error, or I shouldn't get anything that refreshes the page. So that works. Let's go ahead and add an account. Okay, account has been added. Boom, puts that information out there. That's good. And same thing here. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Account remove gives us our 2 seconds. So that works in terms of our set timeout. I don't know what this is. So what the hell? What the deuce? So I shouldn't get this here. No accounts exist. Like, why am I getting this processing modal here? Or GIF or what have you. I shouldn't get that. Oh. All right. I'm almost done for the night. I'm going to take a shower, go get something to eat. But I think that is what we need here. Response, a payload. If total.records, okay, is not equal to 0, accounts entry prompt result. Oh, this would be cool. So no accounts exist. I could just do this. After all that, it's like I'm just gonna copy and paste this part. So that's fine. I mean, that's a part of like the practice and discovery. I'm not really mad at it. Like if there's no accounts that exist, I want it to add an account. Yeah. But that's on refresh. So refresh account list. Yeah, that's fine. On refresh accounts list, if nothing exists, then generate if no records exist is not equal to 0. If it's equal to total record is equal to 0. Ooh, am I returning total records? I may not be returning total records. Oh, okay. I've refreshed the page, so it won't show that. If it equals 0, count entry prompt data. And I could do it based off of this too, but let's see. I don't think I'm returning total records here, and I can look in the back end, but I'm a little bit lazy on that right now. So let's do this. Refresh. All right, so this happens when I delete something. So that, and then I delete. So yeah, and that means that this total records doesn't exist. And that's another thing. Like instead of saying, okay, hey, accounts, you have no accounts that exist, just put in an account entry prompt. That'd be nicer. You know, like they don't have to go through that whole step there. So that's probably something I'm gonna do here. If no accounts exist, then I'm just gonna say account entry prompt and whatever the response data is. Account entry prompts. I don't know if I need response data though for that, but we'll see. Refresh list. I mean, yeah, why reload it if I can just say, hey, prompt you for an account? No account exists. And that's on page load. So I will change that. In fact, let's go ahead and change that now. The only thing is I don't have anything here. So if status failure, no accounts exists. Here, from what we learned, we don't need to throw anything, or we don't want to throw anything in this case. Like if it's a failure, handle our default error or put in our default error handler, but let's just prompt for account entry. and pass this response.data.message and pass that to default error handler function. So we're not throwing an error or anything like that. Again, so like we're looking through and we're iterating, or no, we're adding new features. And then later on, we iterate through this and say, okay, hey, we can take this out. We don't need this, so on and so forth. So iterate, iterate, iterate. Count entry prompt is not defined. So okay, so I mean, that gets us our default error handler, so that's good. But why is a count entry prompt not defined? Oh, generate. Huh. Object is received from server. Are you referencing object? I0 if list name. Maybe do add account. Generate add account entry prompt. I think we're going to do this one. And this takes nothing. All right, cool. This takes nothing. All right, so here, it shouldn't take any. That was weirding me out because it was just like, okay, what data am I going to pass it? Like, I'm not going to pass it anything. There's nothing there. Semicolon, there's nothing there. So how the hell am I going to make that work? And let's look at, and whoever's watching, man, hey, I appreciate you sticking with me here. And definitely, you know, always say hi and things like that, man, and ask any questions that you have. Good for engagement, good for me for testing and everything else like that. But I do see somebody's watching and I appreciate it. All right, so generate account entry. All right, so I do want to go to my refresh list and change this to this because I'm not passing it anything. And yeah, you see, even with the success, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense with the way I'm thinking now. I'm sure it did at the time, but just a note. If this is a success, this function an object. I don't need to pass it an object. Like if it's a success, why is it doing that? And I'll probably figure this out right now. And it's really probably, I just need to do this. And this was an older function because account entry prompt doesn't exist anymore. So like that's the only occurrence of it. Yeah, there's no account entry prompt function. Just make a note of it for now. And let's see what is calling this anyway. Oh, look at that. That's the only thing that's calling it. So if success, if total records is not equal to 0, load this. Otherwise, it should do this. And I'm just going to do that and add that. Okay. Cool. So I should get my account entry prompt. Should be calling it. Okay, we got a problem here. Let's do this 0, nothing in the back end. So we await, we do our await response. Why is this a toast option? I don't think it should be toast, but whatever. Let's do this here. Error, no accounts exist. So if failure, if status not failure, default error handler. So no accounts exist. That's okay. And then generate add account prompt. That is done here. Let's take this out. I don't know if our console error log is, our console error is having a problem there. Oh, that's weird. Now it's not firing anything, like it's not giving me anything. It's response.data.status equals failure. But then if it's equaling failure, generate add account prompt. So let's see here. And this here, I should have. Success. Success. Oh, it's after 9 o'clock. We're in dark mode now. Okay, so coming up on the 2-hour mark, but let's end on a somewhat good note here and actually fix this. Jesus, something in my nose. Generate add account prompt. Get list all. Oh, our get list all here. Catch, it should pop up an error handler there, or should pop up with something here. So that's a problem. So if it pops up, it should throw an error, or it should return an error. But it's not returning an error. Yeah, so in this here, I need to put in something because it's not returning an error. So I need to put in response.data. Ooh, I need to do response.data. Why would you just return response.data? Oh, that's for the list. Okay. Get list all. Yeah, no, that's okay. So that's a get list. Generate options. Oh, the way generate. Okay, I understand it now. With the generate account items list, like how I generate that, it is an asynchronous function that returns a payload. So I need to wrap that in a swell fire. So let me just copy that. That's why it's not sending anything or not firing anything. That's why I made it to where it's like, I can call this a part of something else. So await generate account items list. So result here. Here we go. Result that message. If no, here we go. If success. Small fire here. There we go. Generate. Oh, okay. So let me just copy this block here. Wait, why not just this add account prompt? Like, that's the case, then add an account. So there we go. That should be good, and then that gives me. And again, this is a good reason why I should have something like a list of functions in a notepad and have all those functions listed out so that I can see it and be like, oh, okay, I have this function that does this, and define all those functions, or write properly descriptions for those functions. Now, that's not always available when you're doing new code, and you don't always do it at the beginning because that code might change, or the workings or the foundation or the fundamentals of that function might change later on. So that definition will change over time. But it's a good way of saying, okay, I'm going to write something, define it, and then if it changes, if the definition changes, then I'll just go ahead and change it. But I'm calling the wrong function. I should be calling add account prompt, and that calls generate the account. That calls the generate account prompt, or generate add account prompt message thing. So, or sweet alert. It's like, you just got to keep track of all that stuff, and it's like, you spend so much time like, oh, okay, this is not working. Why is it not working? And it's like, it's not working because you have something that does work, but you forgot that it's there. Ha 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 ha! Fuck your life. But that's what happens. Thankfully, I found it by reading. There we go. Cool. So it should do this. So no account exists. Generate an account prompt. Let's go ahead and add an account. Again, this is better for user experience overall. Boom. So we have our account there. It'd be nice if I changed the way that like this add account here, like change this to like gray or something to work with dark mode, low visibility mode. I'll probably do that. Like if dark mode or something like that, then do this. So I'll have to figure out how I'm going to add that in to where it's the same every time. See if I don't think they have a dark mode, but I don't think Sweet Alerts has like a dark mode per se. Let's look. They do. All right, so link href steams not dark. Include required themes. Okay, so include a required theme. So I just have to download it, and what I could do is add it to. Yeah, let's add that. That's cool. Let's see if I actually already have it. I might already have it. So ls al server view public CSS. I have dark CSS, and I have sweet alert .min.2 CSS. So I can go to JS deliver and get this. And oh no. Let's go. Okay, sweet alert theme 4.5. This is dark mode. So okay, so I can import this to where it comes apart. It becomes part of my CSS or my dark mode CSS. So let's do that. Min version of this. I doubt I'll be doing anything to this here. As a minified version. There we go. Always check for the minified version for library CSS or even JavaScript. Just makes packaging a little bit better, especially like when I start going into frameworks and dealing with, build processes and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff will be, a lot of the assets will be minified, just so you can use less bandwidth or use less bandwidth or data. And that's just better for the user. So sweet alert to dark dot. Sweet alert to dark dot min dot css. Okay, I think that's the end of it. Sometimes it's like when it's one line like that, it is like it takes a little while for it to like load properly, especially if it's like a really big one, big file there. And yeah, it's 24K, so or 24 kilobytes, so that's good. Now what I can do is server view dark CSS. I think I can do an import statement here. How do I import stuff? I don't know the syntax for importing CSS. I don't work with it enough to do that off the top of my head. URL, list of media queries, supports. So import and then URL. The way I think this works is it's relative to where you're at or where the CSS is. So I think I just do that. Let's make sure. Is a string or a URL represent a location of the import? The URL may be absolute or relative. So relative, so meaning that relative to where the CSS is. So it's in that same directory. In my case, if I do this, it'll be the string here. Bring this file up. So I press Control Z so I can put that to the background and make it, in a sense, sleep, if you will, and then FG to bring it to the foreground. And then here, boom. And then I think that is at string URL media. Okay, cool. And then what I do here is I make sure that I can see it or that can be seen, because it'll show up down here that it's like 404, can't find this file or what have you. So that is not the case. So we're good. And let me just clear the console here just to make sure. Ooh, good. And then if I do this, it doesn't work. Okay, so how do we do this? How do we do this with our code here? I think I have a helper function that handles this. Oh, cancel. I don't know what I just didn't do here. So let me do that there, and let me just comment this out. To do a comment, it's like the multi-line comment. A comment in CSS is like the multi-line comment that you see in JavaScript. It's going to be / asterisk or star, and then ends with asterisk star or /. And the asterisk or star is like, whatever you want to call that. Pretty much shift the number 8. All right, cool. So nano server. I have this in my template, and there's a helper function for it. So I might have like 2 different helper functions here. So nano server, and it should be in the view. And first I'm going to check my template just to make sure that it's there, or see how I handled adding the dark CSS after 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. So view, and then pages, and then I will do my form modify account handlebars. All right, so that's the page. I need my layout actually, because that's what I'm going to be really dealing with, layout, and then admin. And then here I should have a helper function of some sort. So enable dark mode here. So that is how I bring in, that's how I haven't run some JavaScript. So using handlebars, you can actually define helper functions, and those helper functions will execute some form of JavaScript that will run for your different templates or your layouts. So enable dark mode. And that's a helper function. And the way I bring that in is triple curly braces as opposed to double curly braces like I do here with my title. With double curly braces, it'll bring in like a name or variable or something like that. But with triple curly braces, it will bring in an actual helper function. And I could define this title when I'm defining like my different routes and stuff like that. So if I go to nano server controller routes JS, the title is defined here. So modify list and things like that. I'm supposed to start the stream in 15 minutes, but I started early today. All right, cool. So custom JS. I don't have anything that I have to put here. It looks like custom JS, I wrote a helper function for it so that I can actually load JS, a part of the template file, and that fixed an issue with not loading JavaScript properly. But we should see this in what I'm about to do now. I think it's in view and handlebars. We'll see the helper functions that I have. So helpers.js. And again, you guys can view this on my GitHub, which is github.com/treestarsystems. It's the same as you see in the bar below with the CashApp tag. Just take out the $. But /treestarsystems, and then under my repositories, because it's not a part of my main repositories that are shown, if you click on repositories tab, you'll see FAT, and that is a public repository, so you can go ahead and view it as much as you want. So here you have load custom JS, and you see that there, but then enable dark mode. So here, return HTML. Okay. Bars. So I can add. So I can. I do nano server. I just want to check something. So view, and then layouts, view pages, layouts, and then admin handlebars. And I have my sweet alert 2 min.css. So enable dark mode. And I can actually pass it some stuff too, like whatever file I want to use. So maybe I want to write it to where I can pass this an actual string. Probably something I want to do here. Because otherwise, and I'm thinking about the logic of this too, because like I have sweetalert2.min, but how do I load my themes? Let's see here. So you can install themes at once, WordPress admin. borderless. You can add dark, so themes. You can install themes at once or just using a single theme, or from JS Deliver with CSS, includes a required theme, your app JSS, your app.js, swap from sweetalert.2js. So themes, import your themes. I can do, and I only want this to happen after a certain time. So during the day, I want it to be white. But during the day, at night, I want it to be like black, dark gray, and things like that. So like white and light gray during the day and black and dark gray at night. So like, do I have to do something here? Because we can still see like with styles.css, this right here, once I put in dark, it makes everything important. That's just the way the CSS is written. So let's see how the CSS is written. Because if it does like all the dark stuff, and then if it does all the dark stuff and says important, then all I have to do is just load it and it'll just, okay, I'm seeing importance here. Okay, that's good. That's the case, then I can easily do this here. So I'm going to do plus equals, and plus ultra. Right. Okay, I think we're good here. And I can do this because like I shouldn't have to add like a return character. It's HTML. It'll parse it accordingly. And I can just add that to HTML and then it'll do dark. Should do dark. Okay, cool. So that's that. And I should see it at the top here. And I should see it in my head, right? So dark CSS, and now after this, I should see Sweet Alert dark min CSS. So let's do that. In the head. Oh. Okay. Okay, I don't see it here. Yeah, I don't see why that won't work or doesn't put that in there. I'll refresh, see what we got. Okay. Yeah, I see it's not even looking at what I'm doing here. What the deuce? When you have like little problems like this where it's just like, bro, come on, bro. Like you should, you know it. Turn HTML. So, so since this is a part of Vue, I have to actually restart my application because I have a function in my index.js that will that will cycle through, kind of like what I do with my cron jobs. It'll cycle through a, it'll do a for in loop. No, yeah, yeah, it'll do a for in loop to register these helpers. These helpers, since they're in the view directory, I don't have like that doesn't show up here or won't work here. So if that's the case, let's go ahead and move this to, let's go ahead and move this to, let's move this handlebars or the view handlebars. We're going to move that whole directory to controller. So this doesn't happen anymore. So anytime I do this, it should just reload our app, and I don't have to like do our app restart or anything else like that. And that's like a design or foundational design flaw on my part, of course, because I'm writing the app. So of course it's me. So controller, and we're gonna do handlebars. I say nano. I want to do move. All right, and then this should probably be causing all types of errors. All right, cool. So nano server, index.js, and our handlebar helpers functions, instead of going to view, it will go to controller. All right, and then now, oh, it's dark mode. Hey, look at that. That's cool. I usually want those sweet alerts to be in white, but dark mode's that's not that bad. All right, cool. So if I go edit, oh, that's in dark mode too. Cool. Our delete counts removed. Does it wait? Does it do something? What does it do? Okay, nothing. All right, so that's cool. So everything's in dark mode. If I go to my head statement here or my head section, dark mode min CSS. All right, cool. So that loads after 9. That's good. I don't like the fact that it's doing this, because it should be a prompting for that. So let's just fix that, and that'll be the last thing we do. Modify account. So if I do, no, it should be, oh, let me get something before I go all the way down there to the bottom. All right, to the bottom here, and if failure, so refresh accounts, we're going to do, no, refresh accounts should do something for us here already. No accounts exist, so that's FAT86, but if I do refresh accounts, boom, so that's good. But then if I do refresh accounts, I should go, okay, so it's in refresh accounts. All right, here, there we go, there we go. So I shouldn't have to reload the page. It should come back with nothing. And I shouldn't generate add account prompt here. I should generate a refresh accounts. I should generate add account prompt here, actually, yes. But I shouldn't do generate add account entry prompt, or this right here. And then account entry prompt, this as well. If it's not equal to 0, boom, all right, cool, it's a success. Here's why I need to pass this function an object. Okay, so I fixed that issue, I think. All right, cool, so let's do that. And let's close this out as well. So, all right, we have our account here, cancel out of that. Let's go ahead and delete that and remove that. So that, let's, yeah. Hey, there we go. Cool. And this should look good on mobile as well. So yeah, I'm glad we got that. We got some good progress here. We are deleting accounts from the front end, and we do have some error checking and some other stuff. There is some refactoring that needs to be going on through this, but definitely won't happen now or at this stage. This would be something where I'd go back and start doing cleanups in terms of like having my standard function layout and other things that I would do on this. So I'm liking it so far. I think this is great, and yeah, I think we're good for now. Let me know if you guys have any questions or concerns or anything like that. As always, take your time to grow. I mean, have you taken your time to grow? Have you grown today at all? And have you looked at your life, look at yourself, look at what you're doing, or just even not even look at what you're doing now, but what you've done in the past? And are you better? Are you worse? Things like that. Also, if you're not taking what I say with a grain of salt, then do your research, or then you're low on sodium, do your research, do the things that are needed to actually make that progress. And, sometimes progress is just relaxing and doing nothing. I think that's valid too. And I want to put that out there. All right, guys, as always, end it with a bang. We'll leave it there. God dang. That sucker got sapped. All right, guys. Peace.